Recently, the popularity of the new street drug Benzo Dope has become increasingly prevalent and piqued interest on social media. It's a powder or pill that contains one or several benzos and fentanyl. Benzo Dope poses significant health threats because of the combination of two central nervous system depressants, benzos and opioids. CNS depressants are the most common cause of respiratory depression, which results in opioid overdoses. Benzos cause more intense CNS depressant effects when taken with opioids. Additionally, researchers have discovered benzos in illicit opioid supplies. This may mean people are taking benzos with illicit opioids unknowingly. Benzo Dope is a new drug found a lot through drug testing and samples from overdose cases. It is an illicitly manufactured benzodiazepine and opioid combination. The artificial drug contains fentanyl, Xanax, Valium, Klonopin, and sometimes other illegal drugs. Benzo Dope is emerging as the new fentanyl. As fentanyl spreads in opioids, dealers and makers keep looking for a more potent, enjoyable drug. This has caused an increase in opioids testing positive for benzos and the introduction of many fentanyl drug combinations. They include Benzo Dope, Scrod Dope, fentanyl with synthetic cannabinoids, and Tranq Dope, fentanyl and xylazine. Because fentanyl targets opioid receptors in the brain that controls emotions, like an opioid, the drug acts as a painkiller. Fentanyl is a selective opioid antagonist that activates the same brain receptors. I just wanted to explain that because a lot of people probably don't even know what Benzo Dope is. It is pretty fucking terrifying that we have this and Tranq Dope taking over the nation, and a lot of other countries too. The shit dealers put in this just to make more money is fucked up, and they deserve to go to hell. Alright, let's get this video started. Last summer, after about a year or two of purchasing heroin on the dark web, I had some tested that I thought was true heroin. I was in the Letten in Zurich during the 90s and I thought I knew real heroin. All were fentanyl mixes with noscapine, a poppy straw extract with negligible alkalines. My world was destroyed and the remaining 5 grams got given away. I slowly began using a BC source on the streets and ended up using Benzo Dope, which is 100% of street heroin here. It is always a combination of fentanyl, benzo designer analogs of atizolam, and xylazine. It is nightmarish. The combo always gave me blackouts of 20 plus hours, then left me sleeping for days, then taking up to 2 weeks to recover my physical equilibrium and be able to eat and drink, as well as put more than a single thought together. Since September 2021, I have relapsed 3 or 4 times, remembering very little and losing a month of productivity each time. My wife has slowly told me what would happen, and little slices of memory have arisen in my brain. I am horrified and ashamed by what I have discovered that I have done. My dealer has surveillance video of me falling repeatedly head first off her porch and getting up, smiling, and walking away. I was forced into sobriety and withdrawal when I broke my ribs and could do nothing but lay in bed for 1 to 2 months. Apparently I had some bicycle accidents. The pattern of the high has gone something like this. 1 puff of foil and I am gone. My short-term memory disappears, which is precisely what a blackout is. No past moment, no next moment. My higher brain executive function or adult ego state is shot. First, I experience delusion of sobriety. I feel nothing and only want more. I finish the single point and go get a gram or 2 and smoke until comatose. Prior to entering coma, I have experienced the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde syndrome. Suppressed parts of my personality surface with no executive function or monitoring of behavior available. I remember coming to and finding myself thinking about the possibility of thinking about going insane and acting out, such as stabbing or choking out my wife. I then experience a deep feeling of disturbance at why I am thinking about doing something violent. That is as close as I can get to the actual experience of thinking of violently killing the love of my life. I am told that during this, I am behaving paranoid and expressing accusations of conspiring against me on her part. The dope being all consumed, I then enter a comatose state where I'm found laying in bewildering positions in the oddest places. Thankfully, she monitors and adjusts my positions. Persons in British Columbia have lain this way long enough to lose limbs and feeling in skin. Some 20 to 30 plus hours into the experience, this is replaced by falling into a deep sleep for a few days. Sometimes I wake up within this time feeling good and jump out of bed to redose, only to find it is lost or consumed, which enrages the beast once again, leaving me railing against my wife for many hours. I am panicky and cannot link two thoughts together, and attempting to do so leaves me completely overwhelmed. I scream about this and that I need a day off from responsibility or thinking. I stress my wife enough that she enters into a stress-induced narcoleptic episode, during which she falls many times, injuring herself. I can only scream at her about how overwhelmed and incapacitated I am, unable to do anything. This stuff will leave you forgetting who you are and your foundational moral compass. I can hardly function in my old brain, shivery, sweating, cold, hot, etc. Gab all fucked up, let alone access my higher brain identity and remember what my interests and joys are. This takes up to a month to recover from a single session. It is weaponized dope. It is evil, absolute evil. This night started off by my boyfriend buying some fentanyl to help with his withdrawals from heroin. We got home and he started smoking some. Me never having tried opiates took my 2 bars for my back pain and smoked some weed. After seeing my boyfriend smile after his hits, I was offered some as I kept complaining about my back pain from previous heart surgeries and car accidents. I lay up and slowly take my first hit. Wow. Right away, my pains and anxieties are taken away. I smile and I wait a little before I take my next hit. This is where I black out. I took my second hit and my boyfriend and I both laid back and began to nod off and watch something on the TV. Not knowing how much time has passed, my boyfriend woke up to the throat gurgling and groaning coming from my body on the bed next to him. From his report, I am blue and purple and gasping for air. He sticks his fingers down my throat to try to open a passage. Doesn't work. He cradles and shakes me erratically. I don't wake up. At this point, he's panicking and wondering if he needs to call 911. He begins to slap the hell out of my face and give me chest compressions. I begin to say ow very quietly as he slaps my face. I don't remember waking up, I just remember my boyfriend being scared and upset with my experience, and I just threw up so much that night. I smoked fentanyl after this, but never had experience when I mixed with Xanax. I was definitely close to overdose and lucky to have someone there with me. I took a couple of Restorol and went to see a movie by myself. Benzos make me forgetful. I couldn't tell you what movie I saw. I drove myself home, slapping 2 2.5 milligram patches on my arm. Getting home, I sat around and watched TV until about midnight, and the patches seemed not to be working, so I cut them open and ate the paste, the gel inside. Kids, don't do this at home. I sat down on my couch in my room in front of the tube with the bowl of clam chowder in my lap. I remember feeling that comfortable opiate glow come about me, starting at my feet and working its warmth up towards my head. I remember looking at the television, it being blurry, and saying, "Whoops." I've had the nods before from morphine. This wasn't the nods. This was just a bit above respiratory failure. My girlfriend, who doesn't use, will swear that I have 9 lives. I honestly don't know how I made it through the night. I had passed out around 12:30, and I remember the television waking me up at around 4 a.m. I dragged my sorry self to the toilet and vomited, good and hard. Chowder vomit isn't pleasant. I don't remember going back to my room or getting into bed. If my dad had been home, I'd say that he put me there, but he wasn't around, so I made it under my own power. I awoke the next morning, still good and stoned. It was awful. The sickness was brutal. I couldn't so much as roll over in bed without feeling ill. I spent all day in bed. All in all, this was a big mistake. I was sick for 3 days. This left me with 3 more patches. I nursed them for the next 3 weeks. A small dot on my finger got me plenty high. Look, if you have access to this stuff and you're thinking about using them, don't. It's dangerous stuff, really dangerous. Heroin is probably safer. If you guys been hearing a background noise, that's the fucking neighbor's generator. Can't do anything about it. Don't have a basement to record in, don't have anything. The windows are all closed, nothing I can do. So if you heard that, that's what it was. Maybe you guys didn't even notice, but I fucking noticed because I'm hearing it right now. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you're new. Comment down below what kind of story you want me to do next. Alright, have a blessed day.